Hello again, back for another video. I thought today I would cover triplet deities, but it's a big topic and it intersects a lot of individual deities, of course, especially. So my whole thesis about all of this is that all these mythologies, religions around the world come from Lucifer, Nimrod, Semiramis, these three characters back to Babylon, the enemies of the Bible, of the Torah, of Genesis. And later maybe we'll get into the fact that Nimrod's offspring, Hunor and Magog, Gog and Magog, they're the enemies from cover to cover of the Bible. The elusive serpent seed family tree that I have heard personally from pastors around the world doesn't exist, possibly because of their funding of their institutions that taught them, but that's a whole other story. So, back to Babylon, right? We've got these three characters, Lucifer, Nimrod, Semiramis, right? And I am convinced that they are summed up pretty well in this. This is one of my favorite artifacts. It's an Urartu helmet, and it's got the sun with wings in the middle, tiny, just over the tree of knowledge. Everyone will tell you this is the tree of life. Everyone in every religion has a tree of life. Only the Torah has a distinct separate tree of knowledge, and only in the Torah the snake explicitly switches the tree of knowledge and the tree of life, and everyone to this day has still fell for that trick, and that's going to deserve another video of its own. But so we have Nimrod, Asher here, sun with wings, riding on a chariot, cherubim, whatever, above this tree of knowledge. You've got these cherubim creatures around him. Lucifer was one of the cherubim, according to Isaiah or Ezekiel, I mix them up. And above you have a seven-headed snake. Well, who is described as a seven-headed snake in Revelations chapter 12? That's right, it's Satan. That is going to deserve a video of its own also, how many seven-headed snake characters you have around the world. But this video is going to be too long as it is, I can already tell. So here's my favorite artifact here. Here's another one of Armenia of the Tree of Life with just the cherubim around it. Here we have a even finer detail. The snake is missing. The tree is in more detail and it's covered in cuneiform. If you guys remember 2 videos ago, cuneiform is their script. It's not the oldest script in my opinion, or according to the evidence I have shown, but it's their script. It's their favorite script, so they will promote it. And once again, Asher again, Nimrod again in better resolution, and Nimrod again with the cone skull and the bow and arrow. So these three characters. In fact, I've only shown you 2 in these pictures, right? The third is his wife/mom, Semiramis. And it used to be, Nimrod here. There's some good stuff on this page, especially the Josephus accounts, which parallel very closely what Daniel says about the Antichrist and what Revelation says about the Antichrist. So that's for another video, but this strongly hints, and I have a lot of evidence, that the Antichrist will be in Nimrod's family tree. But more on that later. I need to do another video on that. And so on to the woman in the pair, Ishtar or Inanna, or Semiramis was the original name in my opinion. I mentioned in the first video she's always associated with this 8-pointed star. Well, here's Wikipedia saying it. She's associated with sex and she's associated with the heavens. Those 2 things are going to keep coming up in other deities, interesting enough. Queen of Heaven, right? That's her title. Coincidentally, the Catholics and Muslims both call Mary, the mother of Jesus, the Queen of Heaven, incorrectly. The title in the Bible is only used to describe Ishtar. So there's more on that later whenever I get into Catholicism and Babylonian religion and how the one stole from the other. But so let's see. Ishtar is, notice this picture of Ishtar. She's got the horns, weapons behind her, eagle wings, human body, standing on a lion, Remember the last video, all those qualities were in Horus, and they were all in Kaldi, that's right, from Urartu. So Urartu is Armenia, right next to Turkey, Babylon, where all these events took place. Oh, quick point. This tablet here, this carving, is from the city of Nimrod in Iraq, right? There's a lot of these locations that still have his name, and I should do a video on that also, but man, there's just too much to go over, right? So Kaldi, the triplet in Urartu, Armenia, is Kaldi, Shamash, Shivini. Kaldi is the cherubim. He takes the form of, or he is Lucifer's representation, the cherubim, Lucifer, right? This page is going to compare him with the sun god, and all these Wikipedia pages, they mix and match in different ways, and I don't understand their justification, but I'm explaining it based on this idea of all these triplets and all these mythologies match up, right? So here it says Kaldi. There's two others, which is I really thought it was Shamash and Shivini, and they're saying it's Theus Pass. Here, let's see if Shamash is not even on this page. Isn't that interesting? So keep that in mind. I don't trust the authors of these pages completely, but also note that. Let me get to that in a second. So yeah, here's Shamash, who is, it's breaking these up. Shivini. Yeah, I think these pages have undergone some changes since I last messed with them. Or it's always possible that I'm mixing them up. But I'm pretty sure Shamash here is one of these triplets, like I'm showing you here. Yeah, whoever edited these pages messed them up quite a bit. But Shamash, interesting enough, Shamash is the 9th candle on the 9-candle menorahs, which, as far as I'm aware, are Babylonian only. If you go back to the Moses scroll, they were only 7 candles. He's tripleted up with Shivini. Oh, there it is. Okay, on the Shivini page, it says Shamash is the counterpart to Shivini. Now, as far as I'm aware, Shamash and Shivini are both men, and they have their respective wives, which is different from the originals, right? Nimrod and Semiramis, men and women. We're going to see connections with these deities and Horus, Osiris, Isis. And once again, Osiris and Isis are man and woman. So sometimes they're depicted as man and woman. Sometimes they're depicted as man and man with their respective wives. And we'll see that when we get to Hinduism. So, yeah, here's Shivini. Notice he's got the wings above him. And notice my favorite about Shivini here is the wings outstretched like this. And, better picture. There it is, yeah. The wings outstretched. Keep this picture in mind when we get to Osiris and Isis, which I think are going to be next. No, wait, they're not next. Next, I think I'm going to do they're next. Okay. So here we have Horus. We already went over the Horus-Kaldi connections. They're both cherubim, in my opinion. Horus, fun fact, the eye of Horus, right? This guy right here. We're going to see how that connects to the pineal gland. And you can do your own homework and find that one. But the pineal gland is also going to show up in all these religions around the world and connect back to, spoilers, the Tree of Knowledge. But, so Horus, Osiris, and Isis, right? Everyone knows that Osiris and Isis they're like a pair, right? Isis should be somewhere on this pair. Osiris' wife, Isis. And there's the whole story about Isis. Osiris was killed by someone else, Set. Here it was. Isis took all the pieces, put them back, couldn't find his phallus, made a golden phallus, and that's what all the obelisks of Osiris around the world are, even though I just showed you obelisks associated with different deities, like the Saka Golden Warrior. And when we get to like local modern Ukraine, you're going to see more obelisks. Fun fact, could tie into the battle going on right there, or right now. So there's Osiris. Oh yeah, another fun fact about this resurrection or reincarnation or whatever, bringing back from the dead witchcraft, Babylonian witchcraft story is there is an exact same story about Shiva and Parvati in Hinduism. Because, in my opinion, Hinduism is just a copy of ancient Egypt and ancient Babylon and some Zoroastrian thrown in there. So now we got to Isis. Oh, what do you know? It's just those identical pictures of Shivini, right? The third of the triplets of Urartu is just like Isis, the third of the triplets of ancient Egypt, right? So that's my opinion on there. That Isis here is just a copy of Shivini from here. You know, if you connect these on the map, which I should show you guys, then it's just like A, B, C from, you know, the Black Sea down to Egypt. So there's Isis. And then what is next? Oh yeah, now is the Oseti, the Asianism. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. Which is the Scythian religion. Remember, Scythians were Magog, or the Black Sea people. This is just a little north of Armenia, of Urartu, of all those other ancient stories. You know, the Garden of Eden, Tigris and Euphrates, the cradle of civilization. And so in Asianism, look at that. What do you know? The triplet. The triplet is fundamental to this religion. What are the odds? And a few of the deities, now Wikipedia, whoever makes these pages, lines them up in their own way. But the one I want you guys to notice is, it's all about triplets, right? Fundamental triads. They have all these different triads in the religion. But the one I want you guys to especially take note of is the sun god, which Wikipedia maybe correctly has lined up with Apollo. You're going to see him is also, their god is called Oitosiris, right? Osiris, Oitosiris. Apollo is going to line up with Osiris really soon. And what do you know, in Asceti, Asianism, it lines up with the god Oitosiris. But as you can see here, they've got 7 gods for each day of the week. So it's not exactly like they don't... even ancient Egypt had a lot more than just those 3, but those are the main triplet in ancient Egypt. And that's my point, is that all these triplets are going to match up. So there's Oseti. There's some extra random facts about Oseti I'd like to get into maybe later, which is, see the 3-legged horse of this dude, Uastirjti. I'm sure I said his name wrong. If you keep going a little farther east, you get to the Kyrgyz people and the Manas epic. And he also has a really weird horse that he rides. I think it flies or something like that. Yeah, it flies. Check. And that, I think, also parallels this guy and the Norse, I forget which, is it Odin or Thor, who has got the 8-legged horse that flies and he rides on. So I'm pretty sure that's how that game of telephone took place. So now on to the Greek triplets, since I just mentioned Apollo. Now Greeks have 2 triplets, right? Oh, what do you know? Here's another dude riding this horse. It's Helios, right? The first, they might even have more than just 2 triplets, but there's 2 that I'm going to focus on at least, which is, the first is the sun triplet, the Helios, Apollos, Dionysus, which is the heavenly sun, the earthly sun, and the dark sun, right? And Apollos, like we just said, of these triplets, 1, 2, 3, Apollos just happens to line up with Horus, Osiris, Isis, right? Osiris, and with Oitosiris, as we just saw. So Apollos, yeah, if you guys don't know, in the book of Revelations, they describe the angel of the pit as Apollyon, right? Sun worship was not a good thing from cover to cover of the Bible, from the Torah to the letters, right? I think it was Ezekiel, but I might be mixing up, that God takes, right? Ezekiel is sitting in the presence of all the church elders, and God grabs him by the top of his head and pulls him to the secret place where the exact same people are worshiping the sun, and God's description of it is he is not pleased, right? God does not like sun worshippers. I just had someone ask me about Jesus being a metaphor for the sun god. It's like, no. Read the Bible. The devil is the sun god. And he's the Lord of this world, and that's the extent of his reach. Jesus is the dude who created existence. But we'll get into that more when I talk more about the different trees, the two trees of life and of knowledge. So here we have Helios, Apollos, Dionysus the dark sun, right? We have the next triplet, and this I'm already taking too long, but halfway through maybe. Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. And the fun thing about this triplet, these are the three gods that got together, and they are depicted with tridents. You'll see all three of these guys with tridents. Now, way back to Babylon, the Apkallu also have tridents, which is an interesting fact, and so do some of the Hindu gods. Maybe we'll see. This thing looks like one of the devices that one of the Hindu gods have. I forget. He's holding a thunderbolt, it says here. But these three gods, Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon, they all teamed up and beat Cronus. And a lot of people point out Cronus, aka Saturn, in the later Roman. Cronus is basically Satan, right? They beat him and they banished him to the underworld, right? So that's going to get into my detour on Satan. And as far as I'm aware, Cronus is not depicted as a reptile or as having 7 heads or anything like that. However, in ancient Greek, you do have a character who is, which is the Hydra, right? This is the game of telephone. As the stories got passed down, they got split up and renamed more and more and more. Oops, let's go to the ancient Greek mythology. Many-headed serpent, yeah. So the Hydra, the 7-headed serpent, right? I need to do a whole other video on the 7-headed serpents and on the reptilians. But, it's basically Satan. Satan is described in Revelation chapter 12 as a serpent with 7 heads, just like Hydra here. Just like South America, Chicomacotl, right? 7-headed serpent, right? And let's see, where are we at? Yeah, Medusa also is another game of telephone. This is a separate Greek story from the Hydra. However, the fun thing about the Medusa here is it is a gorgon, right? The reptilians. Now that needs its own video, and this mask right here needs its own video, because if you've been to India, you've seen this mask, or you've been to East Asia, you've seen this mask. If you've seen the Aztec sunstone depicting Quetzalcoatl, the winged serpent, and that's the term used in Genesis to describe Satan, right? He has his wings removed. Quetzalcoatl, you've seen this face, right? It's the same face around the whole world. That's the reptilian's face. So, these original stories got broken up and passed along and mixed up, and that's where all these modern renditions come from. Back to the original point of triplet deities, random fact, these reptilians, they're not in the triplets as far as I'm aware. These are just different depictions of Satan, who always seems to appear as the enemy to the triplets. But more on that. I guess I have to study more on that. And so, continuing on with our triplets, and our serpents, we're going to transition into Hinduism now, right? Ananta Shisha, Sanskrit for infinite serpent, the 7-headed serpent. That's right, Satan once again. Now, a lot of people have heard that there's a Hindu story that the world was made on the back of a turtle. Predating that is the Hindu story that the world was made on the back of Ananta Shisha, the 7-headed serpent. Read Revelations, and you'll find that the whore of Babylon, Ishtar, rides on the back of a 7-headed beast, if I recall. And everyone's trying to figure out who are the 7 heads. I'm convinced, just like the Hindu story, the 7 heads, the 7 hills are the 7 continents of Earth. It is the whole planet, in my opinion. Earth is the outer layer of hell. But that's just me. Ananta Shisha. Interesting fact about Ananta Shisha here. It is also a deity of the celestial, right? The infinite, and sometimes it is depicted as a double helix, which I might not have here. I might have somewhere down here. And onto Shisha, where are you? Yeah, this is basically everything we already went over. But, there we are. Yeah, Ananta, Shisha, double helix. Random fact, the swastika, according to my Indian classmates, Indian friends, the swastika is two snakes intersecting. Once again, the helix. Once a helix, DNA. Here we have two different points of connection with DNA and the heavens, Anantashisha and Ishtar, the seven-headed beast and the Queen of Heaven, both in Revelations, right? Same characters. So this is Satan, in my opinion, right? And, random fact, down here, who's reclining on the back of Satan is Vishnu. Keep that in mind. Vishnu reclining on Satan. You see a lot in Hinduism. Now on to the triplet of Hinduism, which is Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Brahma has 4 faces. Ezekiel says cherubim have 4 faces. Brahma is Lucifer. He's with Vishnu. Vishnu's avatar shows up in the Mastya, the flood story, right? Nimrod was the great-grandson of Noah. Nimrod is Vishnu. Also, the flood story, the Ramayana, right? The main character is Rama. In the Torah, it says Nimrod's brother's name is Rama. What are the odds? And Rama is another avatar of Vishnu. What are the odds? Rama is some way related, maybe identical, maybe the brother of Nimrod, who's Vishnu, who we're an avatar of within Hinduism. But I think it's the same person. I'm convinced. Right? Vishnu here reclines on Anantashisha, snakes and Nimrod. Keep those two in mind when I get to Buddhism. Now, Vishnu has his own wife separate, right? Just like the Urartus did in Armenia. Their triplets had distinct wives. It wasn't a man and a female. It was a guy with a wife, and it was another guy with a wife. And there we are. Lakshmi is Vishnu's complement, and they ride on, is it Garuda? And then we have Shiva and Parvati. Like I said, there's a Shiva-Parvati story, just like Osiris and Isis, chopping up the body, putting them back together. And the lingam that you find in every temple in India is the man and the woman body parts together. It's Osiris's phallus, once again, taken from Egypt. That's right. I'm convinced Hinduism is not as old as Egypt. So Shiva and Parvati, right? Shiva, Shivini have a few things in common, more than their name. They're also the third in the triplets. They're also male figures that have respective wives, unlike Isis and Osiris in Egypt. But let's keep going. Even though this is outside the realm of triplets, it's still in the realm of Satan and the triplets, which is Mahavira of Jainism, right? Mahavira is a Naga. Did I get it right, Mahavira? Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Maybe I did. Yeah, I did. This page has changed a lot since I last saw it. But Mahavira is, from Jainism, was the Naga that brought down enlightenment to the world. And I'll just pull it up over here. So Mahavira. This used to be the top picture. Yeah, I wonder who changed it and why. This is Mahavira. Notice the sun symbol there. That also pops up in Central Asia. Notice the lotus pose. And once again, the more you see this on Buddha, the more you'll realize his head is a pineal gland, just a giant pineal gland. But everything's gold because he gave enlightenment, i.e. knowledge, i.e. the fruit of knowledge, to humanity. I.e. he's the guy responsible for ruining reality. And you keep going down, you find his flying machine, his Vimana. Oh wow, what's that look like? Flying a saucer. Now it's going all the way back to the beginning of this video, Inanna Ishtar. It's too bad that someone just recently edited the wiki page on that because it used to be the best source of the story of Semiramis flying down from heaven or wherever, reincarnated on her rainbow egg. That's right. That's where Easter, the whole bunnies and rainbow painted eggs, that comes from Ishtar, i.e. Semiramis, and her whatever story, reincarnation story, which I interpret. Okay, if you dig through enough UFO testimonies, a lot of people say they are rainbow colored, constantly flashing lights, stuff like this. Just like whatever it was that flew Ishtar, Semiramis, back down to the Euphrates, which is surprisingly close to Nimrod's hangout, which we'll get into later. So Mahavira here, I'm pretty sure that this is the reptilian who abducted Nimrod's mom / wife and messed with her DNA, screwing up humanity. And this is the flying saucer he used to do it in this temple of Ishtar, or of Mahavira. And I'm lifting this stuff from this. Here's some screenshots from Praveen Mohan. Check out his channel. He's one of the only people that really dissects these ancient temples, ancient statues in India. He always has a Hindu spin. Of course, that's his background. I am putting a ancient origin of all writing, of all mythology and all humanity spin on it because I've got a Bible background, and that just happens, like I said, to be written originally in the oldest text on earth and most widely dispersed script family on earth. But so here we have Mahavira, right? Mahavira reptilian turns into, I'm convinced, turns into Buddha, because Buddha here, in every single statue you see in Southeast Asia, Buddha is reclining on the back. Man, who's responsible for these pages? They're all horrible. Buddha is on the back of where is it? There. Of Musalinda. Musalinda is Anantashisha. Buddha is Vishnu. If anyone, everyone should have heard, if anyone knows anything about Buddhism, that it was taken and copied from Hinduism, that it was a successor of Hinduism. These are the characters they copied, right? Oh, what's this? Buddha got enlightened sitting under a tree, right, with some kind of fruit, and here's the tree and Musalinda all in the same picture. That's the fruit of knowledge. That's the evil tree, right, that brought corruption and evil into the world. It's a metaphor for the devil abducting him and screwing with his DNA, right? This, I'm convinced Buddha is just a mix of Mahavira and of Vishnu, and the identical poses here and here is kind of evidence of that. So that's the end of my really quick race through triplet deities, and it's already probably too long of a video. Yeah, it's like 3 times longer than my first, twice as long as the second. I was hoping to make all these 10 minutes, but this definitely didn't work out so well. This is way too long. I had way too much info, and like I said, every single topic I touched still needs more to be said about it. But thanks for listening, and tune in next time.